Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Coffee and Headlines. Today is Saturday, May 23rd, Saturday. We've talked about Saturday songs before. We're not going to do that today. But let me tell you that this is Coffee and Headlines. We get together every morning, 9:30, I'm sorry, 10:30 in the morning to share the latest headlines and stories from places near and far as they relate to or affect us here in Puerto Vallarta, particularly those of us who communicate in English and sometimes in Spanish also here in our destination. If you're new to these broadcasts, my name is Paco, and I invite you to let us know that you're new by writing the word new in your comments and letting us know where you are and letting us know that you're doing okay. And of course, letting us know if you're not in Puerto Vallarta that you're just itching to get back down here. If you're catching the broadcast in the afternoon or any other day, you will find that there are show notes attached to each broadcast. These show notes are all the links that we talk about during the broadcast, all the headlines. So if there's anything in particular that interests you, you can go and pursue them at your own pace, in your own time. Some of the headlines are in Spanish, of course. I keep them in the list of show notes just so that you know where the news came from. Credibility is important for us here. And of course, if they're in Spanish, you will need to use a translator to understand them or simply watch the show so that we can at least get the sense of the news together. Um, as always, I'm going to take a second to say a couple of quick hellos to some of our friends that join us regularly. Crist, Pam, Dot, Christy from San Francisco, Geoff, David, Stacy, uh, okay, Kathleen, Ohio. That of course Japanese. Sorry, it took me a second. Domo arigato gozaimashita. Um, Ted is new from Las Vegas. Ted, I hope you're doing great, and I hope you have plans to come back sometime when it's right for you. Good morning, Patricia, Ellen, Sue, Randall, extremely itching to get back to Vallarta. That's what we like to hear. Well, hopefully you'll be able to get back here when the time is right for you, David, and when you feel safe to return. Good morning, Reed, Sean, Julie, Craig, and Barbara. And I'm sure other people will start joining us. As I announced, today is about Debby Holiday. Of course, Debby Holiday is in California and she is not a morning person, and we're not about to hold that against her. So we actually reached out to one another yesterday. So today we'll be talking about Debby, and we are going to be featuring a short video interview that I conducted with her yesterday because she has great news to share. I'm not going to get ahead of myself. We're going to wait till we get to the leisurely section of today's broadcast. And right now, why don't we head into our headlines? I don't have many, but they are important headlines. For starters, there has been a little bit of a disconnect for restaurants in on the Malecón here in Puerto Vallarta. On the one hand, restaurants are allowed to operate, as we know, with limited occupancy, with 50% capacity. On the other hand, the Malecón is close to the public, so these particular set of restaurants have been kind of lost in the game because they can open by federal law, but they cannot open because of their location. So it was good to learn this morning that starting on Monday, whereas the Malecón will continue to remain closed for the public, it is going to be possible to access restaurants that are located on the Malecón, um, which may seem a little weird because, of course, you're so close to the Malecón and yet you cannot go there. But then again, there are other beachfront restaurants that have been open to the public, and we're just getting closer to this place in which we can enjoy our surroundings with more freedom. But I am happy to learn that the restaurants that are located on the Malecon will now be able to provide service for those of us who feel comfortable enough to go and enjoy the restaurants in the city. So starting on Monday, this is going to happen. And that's good news for restaurants on the Malecon. Now, of course, for most of us, the big question is, the safe distance campaign or guideline or restriction, whatever you want to call it, in Mexico ends at the end of the month. And everybody is wondering what's going to happen uh, as soon as this is over. And the answer for this question is who knows? We have the federal guidelines that tell us one thing, we have the state of Jalisco that tells us another. Um, I am sure that the government and all our public officials are struggling with the best answers they can provide, and I certainly hope that when it is time to when the end of the month comes, we'll have more of an opportunity to at least go outside and get some fresh air and exercise and so forth and so on. So I just want you to know that no matter where we look, no matter where we go, things will be announced when they are announced, and we'll see what happens next together. Going back to the headlines and along the same lines, um, Vox comes through once again. They have put together this wonderful article in terms of how do we gauge the risk? How do we measure the risk of going out? And they've broken down to this very nice chart that talks about what are the lowest risk activities, moderate, higher, and highest, so forth and so on. So these may be helpful for some of us as we're waiting um, to go out and wait. Oh God, how do you say that in English? You wait to go out, and then you wait. Um, okay, somebody needs to pronounce this for me whenever we get together for real-time coffee, because these are difficult words to say. As we're measuring and balancing our decision-making process of whether we go out or we stay in, articles like these hopefully help us make good decisions for ourselves that make us feel good and safe and so forth. I also want to report on Paul Crist, my friend Paul, who is like the Energizer Bunny. Sometimes I worry, and I'm going to say this publicly, Paul, you cannot save the entire world. You need to take care of yourself, and you need to take care of your business and your family. I know Paul has a heart the size of an entire continent, um, but I'm concerned that I know Paul, and he's spending so much time and effort putting this together. He started with a $10,000 goal, and then raised it up to 15,000, and then up to 20,000, and now I see that he has raised the goal to $50,000 to raise money for families in need in Puerto Vallarta. Um, so we're going to do whatever we can to promote this and to continue helping. Unfortunately, as we all know, even as restrictions are lifted, there is still a lot of need to um, to help those that don't have the means to be able to feed themselves. So please take a look at this campaign. Please take a look at everything that has been accomplished. And I see that Paul says, I am okay, really. But, Paul, there are many of us that love you dearly, and we worry about your well being. So get used to it. Maybe what Paul needs is a little bit of leisure. And those were our serious news of the day. And I want to start talking to you about Debby Holiday, because Debby Holiday is going to coincide or appear in two important events this week. The first one, of course, is going to be the nighttime fundraiser for local workers here in Puerto Vallarta, which takes place today. This is going to be PV Strong. And of course, she is also going to appear on a recently announced star-studded um, reading of the play Sordid Lives by Dale Shores, in which she has appeared before. So I wanted to interview her live because I enjoy when we have the opportunity to interact with our guests and ask them questions. Unfortunately, we were not able to do this live because of her schedule. and her sleeping patterns. Yes, she's an artist and she stays up late. So we pre-recorded this little interview. I hope you'll enjoy it. And just as there are good hair days and bad hair days, there are good internet days and there are not so good internet days. Our connection was a little wonky yesterday, and I know that the sound is a little off. So I apologize ahead of time. Please enjoy this, and we'll be back for questions and comments right after this 8-minute feature. How are you doing?
I'm great. It's so good to see you.
Now, I know that you've been keeping busy with a bunch of projects, so I don't want to take much of your time. But for the benefit of those people that don't know you among our viewers, can you tell me a little bit about your connection to Puerto Vallarta?
Puerto Vallarta, I know and love because of one person and one person alone. That would be Andrew Briskin, who passed away there several years ago. He is my brother, and he was my manager for quite some time, and we became like family. And one year, he booked me at Oscars for New Year's Eve and fell in love with PV. And now, of course, Logan Miller, one of my best friends, lives there. And my first booking actually came through knowing Levi Price. So a whole lot of great friends got me there. And the first year I performed there, I think I was there for 10 days. So it was like a week-long performance. The next year I was there for 2 weeks. Following year I was there for a month. This last trip, I was there for almost 6 weeks. No, over 6 weeks. So it gets longer and longer every time.
I had a chance to see you live at Nacho Daddy, and it was a mind-blowing night. I very much enjoyed it. Now, I know that you've been connected to Sordid Lives, but tell us about your connection to Sordid Lives. How did you become involved with this play?
Well, I was in a long-running play of Del Shore's called The Trials and Tribulations of a Trailer Trash Housewife.
Hello.
I played the singing ghost, which later became a film called Blues for Willowdene with Beth Grant, Dale Dickey, Octavia Spencer, and David Steen. Did I say Dale Dickey? I can never say her name too many times. I adore her so much. And that play was open for about 3 years. At one point, the person who was playing Bitsy May in Sordid Lives was not available. And I became Bitsy May. Did a little bit of touring with the entire cast, including Leslie Jordan and Newell and Rosemary Alexander and Beth Grant. And it was just it was such a great experience, both playing in a small theater, the Zephyr Theater on Melrose, and then also touring a little bit of the country.
And now you and members, because this has been a play, it has been a movie, and it has been a television series, and cast members from all three productions are getting together to do a very special reading of the play Sordid Lives, and it's going to be available on Zoom, not this Sunday, but the following Sunday. And you're part of it. How is it going?
It's been great. I mean, I got to tell you, we had a quick sort of Zoom get together the other day, and I'm, on Zoom with Bo Bridges and, Bonnie Bedelia and some other great friends. And it was such an amazing cast. It's just insane. And it's for such a good cause. It's benefiting, I believe it's 23 small local theaters that are having a really tough time right now. So literally 100% of the proceeds go to them.
This is really wonderful. Now, you are a singer, you are a songwriter, you are a dance tune diva, but you are also a rock girl. When you had the opportunity to act, did this strike some kind of desire to do it more? Have you worked in other acting opportunities? Have you had any others?
I've done a few things. I've done some voiceover work. It literally it's hard to keep everything, to have enough time in the day, especially now. I was just telling a friend of mine, I am working 3 times more than I usually do pre-pandemic, because things are changing and we have to sort of shift what we're doing. So I would absolutely love to do more acting. I've had a few auditions, and I have done some voiceover work, but I fell into the play with Dell because he came to see me at the behest of Levi Christ, and I said, "Oh, I'm not an actress." And Del Shore said, "Like hell, you ain't." "Oh, yes, you are." So I credit Del for being so gracious and helping me become an actress. So yeah, if I had more time, I'd do more of it.
Now, like many people that are involved in performing arts, you are now in waiting time. You are performing from home. You're doing live streams from home. When can tell us a little bit about when people can get a chance to get to know you through your music? When are you live streaming, and what other types of performances do you have coming up?
The first performance is something done to sorry, Saturday. I don't, that's the one thing about being in quarantine, right? At the pandemic, I don't know what to do. I have to look on my all the time. Saturday, the 23rd at 2 p.m. Central, there's something called PV Strong that my friend Brian Kent has put together, and that will be benefiting local nightlife in Puerto Vallarta. And I'm so grateful to be a part of that. It's going to be amazing. Check it out. The cast is insane. The people he has lined up. So that's the first opportunity. That's Saturday, starting at 2 p.m. I call them Debbie's Den. Because Debbie's Den, I have turned my studio into a bit of a musical den. So it's not just equipment, it's also warm and cozy in here now. And that's Sundays at 7 p.m. So I'll be this coming Sunday, 7 p.m. And then the following week, it'll actually be on Monday, just that once at 6 p.m. And that's on my Facebook, on both of my Facebooks. So both profile and my fan page. I'm moving it that one week, so I have room to participate from 5 to 8 in the play for Sordid Lives, and that's on the 31st.
Well, because I am a fan, Debbie, I know what your Facebook pages are. I know what your website is, and I'll be happy to share it with the viewers of Coffee and Headlines whenever we get to show this. Which I think we're doing this tomorrow morning, right? Of course we are, because we want to promote the fundraiser for Puerto Vallarta nightlife. This is really important.
Yes, because I mean, I am so grateful that I can still do vocals from home. I have my own studio. I can perform from home. But these nightlife workers have, without venues being open, income completely gone. So, and I, again, as I said in the beginning, I love PV so much. I also want to say, I love what you're doing. I love Coffee and Headlines. It's so cool.
We have a good time. We have a good time. Thank you very much, Debbie. And thank you very much for spending some time with us. I'm not even going to ask you about bookings or trips or anything, because I'm sure that it is way, way too early. But please know that Puerto Vallarta awaits there. See, we were doing so well. We're recording this without stopping, and I had to say something stupid. I'm going to leave it like that. But what I'm trying to say is that please know that Puerto Vallarta will welcome you back with open arms whenever you come back. It has been a pleasure for us to enjoy your talent and your wonderful good vibes, and we wish you very much success on these endeavors. And as they say in the music and the theater business, break a leg on Sordid Lives.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, awaitance, the trials and tribulations of speaking English never cease to amaze me. Anyhow, that was Debby Holiday. She is such a sweetheart. I've had the pleasure of knowing her, not as well as I hope I will get to know her in the future. I interviewed her once this fall for Nacho Daddy, for an interview that appeared in the PV Mirror. And then I went to see her live, and I fell in love with her. And then, of course, she had to leave, and now we're in the middle of the pandemic, so it is what it is. But today is PV Strong. It starts at 2 p.m. Look at all the wonderful people that are going to be performing there. And of course, Debbie is included in this lineup. She is an amazing soulful performer. and I certainly hope you all get a chance to see her. And of course, it'll be wonderful to catch this benefit for with Sordid Lives. It's going to be a reading of this wonderful play that has to do with a Texas family in which the matriarch of the family is found dead in a motel with questionable company, and it was premiered on stage in 1996. It became a film in the year 2000, and I believe it was 4 or 6 years later that it became a series on television. And of course, Debbie has been involved with this since she got a chance to meet Del Shores through Levi Christ. So this will be a fun TV watch, and I'm going to leave you the link to this website where we can find out. We can actually watch it live either on YouTube or Facebook. So we're going to enjoy that very much. Not this Sunday, not tomorrow, but a week from tomorrow. And of course, today is PV Strong in the afternoon. Let's not forget to tune in if we can. Um, I also read this morning about a great benefit. I read this on worldmusiccentral.org, which is a wonderful source of music from around the world. There's going to be an event called Artists United for Amazonia, and it includes the likes of Jane Fonda, Morgan Freeman, Carlos Santana, Peter Gabriel, and a huge list of other guests: Alfre Woodard, Carrie Ilves, Herbie Hancock. Um, um, the list is endless, and what it looks like. Oh my God, Luciana Souza is going to be there too. We went to school together. Um, Anyhow, this looks like it's going to be a great, not only a musical event, but also an event to raise awareness of what's going on in not only in the Amazon forest, environmentally speaking, but also what's going on in Brazil. I don't know that if you've been following international news, but the whole COVID-19 situation in Brazil has been particularly troublesome and of concern because of the guidelines that their president has put together, which are, well, some people would say not very coherent. But again, I try to stay away from political commentary from other countries, partially because I'm not as well informed as I'd like to be, but also because I don't feel it's my place to comment on those things. Before I share with you the last two, well, no, let me share one more item with you, and then I'll look at your comments, and then I'll share a final item before we go. I want to set this up because this is personal, and it's happened to me, and maybe it hasn't happened to you, but it goes like this. When you're a gay man and you have a relationship and you live in your apartment, maybe with your spouse or maybe not, you have photographs and things in your house that reflect your identity as a gay man. So whenever you have your parents visit, we always talk about how it's time to de-gay the apartment, particularly when our parents don't know um, about our sexual identity. So we de-gay our apartment, get rid of like sexy photos or photos with our partner, and so forth and so on, prior to the visit of um, of our of our parents. And why do I bring this up? Well, because for the first time ever, and let the traditionalists be completely flabbergasted, Disney has released their very first animated main character in a short film called Out. And I'm going to share the preview with you. It is very endearing. This particular short is going to premiere on Disney Plus today. You have to have a Disney Plus account to be able to enjoy it, but I'm sure that a lot of people are going to find a way to share it somehow. Pixar has had this tradition of creating short films, animated films. Usually they present them at the introduction of their movies at movie theaters. And this is a way for their designers to be able to do experimental techniques and innovate on the things that they do. And I saw the preview of this, and it is absolutely endearing, and it's just wonderful, like everything they do. It truly is. Let me take a look at any particular. comments you may have that are important. Um, Paul comments that a large donor insisted he raises the goal to 59,000. Um, well, Paul, again, keep up the good work. Just be mindful of yourself and be mindful of those around you. Be mindful of everything. Just know that we love you and we care for you. Ellen wants to teach me pronunciation. I love that. I'm going to need that definitely. Um, I also got some questions about um, Georgia asks about what's going on at the Botanical Gardens and Bob Price. How can citizens help in this effort? I don't know specifically what you're referring to, Georgia, but of course, the best way to support the Botanical Gardens is to visit their webpage and see what kind of membership plans they have available for us. Let's see what else. Let's see what else. Uh, Love the interview with Debbie. It's super important to support artists and theaters. I completely agree. Artists and theaters are going to be probably among the last industries to be able to find their groove in the new normal. So we'll have to see what we can do. Um, it's great to see many people getting together to help one another. Absolutely. Um, I know, Logan, that you and Debbie are very good friends, and I always think about you whenever I think of her, and vice versa. Paul comments on what's going on in Brazil. Again, I agree with you, Paul. It's a very difficult situation. We should be grateful that, as much as we can be critical of the Mexican government for the way it's handling the pandemic, there are some places around the world that I definitely would not want to be in. Um, the apartment. Okay, there's somebody else that has been there. Absolutely. Before we go, I want to give you this is a little bit about me and where I am in terms of this whole pandemic thing, and as far as the work that I do, particularly as it relates to my website. If you've had a chance to visit my website, pacoojeda.com, um, prior to the pandemic, I had pretty much decided that what I would do is to set myself the goal of doing a minimum of 3 articles per week about places, people, activities, wonderful things that are going on in Puerto Vallarta. Needless to say, after a while, once we were told to stay indoors, this became difficult. So if you were to scroll my website, you would probably see that for the last few days, it's all coffee and headlines, show notes, and more show notes, and more show notes, and no articles about what's going on around the city. Obviously, excuse me, we cannot go out. But I am getting to the point in which my personal need to continue with my mission to connect and promote is increasing. I haven't taken photographs in weeks. I don't want to get rusty in what I do. And in the limited capacity that we have now to go out and enjoy our surroundings, I am going to start writing articles for the website again, which is good news for all of you who have been so kind to follow my pursuits, because not only do we continue moving forward with coffee and headlines, but I also continue um, doing what I love as well, which is just writing and taking photographs and shooting videos and stuff like that. So here's some homework for you. In the past, before COVID-19, what I would do is go through Facebook pages, groups, etc., websites, blogs, to see what people are interested in, what people are asking questions about. Needless to say, this is a little bit tricky right now because so much of the content that is being shared online has to do with COVID-19. And I'm not saying that's good or bad. I'm just saying it is what it is. In the last 2 months, you've become part of my community. Hopefully, I've become part of yours. So here is your homework should you choose to accept it. If you go to the bottom of my website, you will find categories on the left. If you scroll through these categories, you'll get to see some of the different articles that I have written in the past and what they have been about. So what I would like to invite you to do, since you are my audience, and I am so happy to have you, is take some time exploring the website, take some time looking at some of the things that I've written about before. And if there are certain people, places, activities, questions, no matter how mundane they may be, please share them with me, because ultimately, um, I do this for you. I do this with you, and I do this for you. So today I'm going to go out and have lunch with a dear friend at a local restaurant. I'm going to go to Barracuda, as a matter of fact. And because I've never written about them, I'm going to um, go and take some photos and write an article about them. I just heard about a new breakfast place in Versailles called Cha, which was recommended to me. No, you cannot see that. And I'm going to try to hit them at some point in the near future, and so forth and so on. I understand that some of you may not be ready to go out. I understand that some of you may perceive this as, Paco, what are you doing? You know, taking photographs of public places that we cannot enjoy. And some of you may be critical of it. I will understand and I will respect that. And I have no problem with it. But what I feel I need to do for myself, for my community, and for people around me is just start generating some positive promotion for the things that are going on around me. It's my personal decision. So hold my hand, partner with me, tell me what you're curious about, tell me where your comfort level is so that we can walk this walk together. And, um, and that is the end of, oh my gosh. Okay, I hope this is not true, and we'll definitely keep our eyes on this, and hope that this is something that this is about Bob Price at the Botanical Gardens. I'm very sorry to hear about this. I know that Bob's uh, challenges with the people behind the hydroelectric have been uh, constant and intense. We'll be tracking this bit of information. Thank you for sharing, Georgia, and we'll we'll see how this develops, and we'll see how this unfolds. Um, Tomorrow, of course, is Sunday Fun Day. I want to hold on to that tradition because we need a day off, and I need a day off, and maybe you need a day off. So tomorrow will be Sunday Fun Day. We will try to stay away from hard news if we can. Um, Nothing is sacred tomorrow. No one is safe tomorrow. I haven't decided exactly what we're going to do to have a good laugh together. I have thought about giving a little bit of a crash course on Mexican cursing words. I don't know if you would enjoy that, or if you would be totally revolted by it. There's a couple of funny videos that I've captured through the week that I'm going to share with you. And of course, Gail has been asking me about my crock pot habits. So tomorrow will be the best day to do that. In the meantime, as always, I wish you a great day. It's Saturday. Seize your day. Stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive, and stay close to those that you love. Don't forget to tell people that you love, that you're thinking of them, and that they matter to you, because we all need to hear that from time to time. Have a great day.